Have you ever wondered what happens when a top-tier Formula One driver is given every opportunity to shine but keeps tripping over himself at every crucial moment? Well, in today's breakdown, we dive deep into Sergio Perez's baffling performance at his home race, the Mexican Grand Prix. Despite the crowd's thunderous support, hoping to witness their hero reclaim glory, Perez's outing became an embarrassing disaster that not only damaged his race but might have cost him his seat at Red Bull. Stick with me to the end, and you'll see how the future of Perez and even Red Bull's championship ambitions now hang by a thread. Now, let's set the stage. Picture this Perez racing in front of thousands of passionate fans, the Mexican flags waving high, the stands roaring with anticipation. This was supposed to be the moment when everything turned around a triumphant comeback on home soil. But things took a nosedive almost immediately. An early penalty sent Perez tumbling to the back of the grid, leaving him with a mountain to climb. But it wasn't just the penalty that turned his race into chaos. In his desperation to claw his way back, Perez nearly took out Liam Lawson, a young star who isn't just another rookie. Lawson is a serious contender for Perez's seat, making this incident even more personal. For years, whispers about Red Bull's patience with Perez have grown louder, but after this latest disaster, the doubts are no longer whispers, they're roaring like the engines on race day. Perez's performance is starting to feel like a liability for a team that isn't just content with podium finishes, they're chasing championships. Red Bull operates on a whole different level. This is a squad that expects its drivers to push the car to its limit, delivering consistently at the front of the grid. Yet, instead of fighting at the top, Perez is becoming a symbol of inconsistency and controversy, causing headaches for Red Bull's management. To make matters worse, Perez's struggles are starting to affect the atmosphere within the team. Some of Red Bull's top personnel have already departed mid-season, frustrated with the direction things are heading. What was once looking like a perfect season for Red Bull is now riddled with uncertainty. The momentum they built early on is slipping through their fingers, and their dominant lead in the constructor standings is under threat. The biggest question on everyone's mind is how much longer can Red Bull afford to keep Perez? Perez's Mexican Grand Prix should have been the turning point, a moment to silence critics and cement his position in the team. Instead, it became another example of things spiraling out of control. He ended up 17th, dead last among those who finished the race, with 3 other drivers not even crossing the line. This result was especially bitter since it happened in front of his home crowd. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Red Bull's team principal, Christian Horner, who has always defended Perez, seems to be changing his tune. His recent comments strongly hinted that the team might be considering a change in the driver lineup. This shift is significant when someone like Horner, a staunch supporter, starts questioning a driver's future. It means the pressure is mounting. His words were sharp. This is a performance-driven business, and at some point, difficult decisions need to be made. These are not just words spoken in frustration, they're a clear warning that Perez's days at Red Bull could be numbered. Ever since Red Bull's disappointing outing at Baku, speculation about Perez's future has only intensified. Some reports even suggest that Perez could walk away from Formula One mid-season if things continue down this path. The speculation about Perez's future reached new heights after his disastrous performance in Mexico, forcing reporters to corner Christian Horner for answers. When asked about whether Perez's time with Red Bull was running out, Horner didn't outright deny the possibility. Instead, his carefully chosen words added fuel to the fire. This isn't something we've dealt with before, but at some point you have to face the facts. Despite the increasing pressure, Perez remained remarkably unfazed. In the post-race interview, he brushed off the rumors, delivering a bold and somewhat defiant statement: "I'll be back next year, and I'll fight for the victory. That's my dream." The confidence in his words might have sounded admirable, but behind the scenes, it's clear that his standing within the team has become shaky at best. Perez may have survived earlier controversies, but the growing whispers within Red Bull hint that his time might be running out. Liam Lawson, after all, isn't just any rookie. He's a rising star, hungry for the chance to prove himself, and many believe that he could be the perfect candidate to replace Perez. Perez's recent clashes with Lawson have only heightened the tension. Their battle at the Mexican Grand Prix wasn't just a fight for positions, it felt personal. The intensity on the track reached its peak when Lawson made a daring move, overtaking Perez after a pit stop and even flipping him off on the main straight. It was a moment that spoke volumes about the fierce rivalry brewing between the two, one that Red Bull's management can no longer ignore. In response to Lawson's gesture, Perez didn't hold back. During his post-race media appearance, he criticized the rookie's attitude, saying he needs to learn humility. Just because you're talented doesn't mean you can act like you own the place. When legends like Alonso give advice, you listen, but it seems Lawson is too cocky to do that. Perez's frustrations were understandable, but they couldn't mask the harsh reality his own performance was spiraling. Even before the race in Mexico, Perez had acknowledged the challenges of what has been a nightmare season. The struggles only deepened at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, where he failed to find pace throughout the weekend. His difficulties began in final practice, where the car lacked grip and control, and things unraveled further in qualifying. As Q1 came to a close, Perez found himself stuck in P18, missing out on Q2 entirely, a painful reminder that even in his home race, he was far from competitive. This marked the 5th time this season that Perez was eliminated in the first qualifying session, a troubling pattern for a driver in one of the fastest cars on the grid. After the session, Perez seemed disheartened, attributing his poor performance to ongoing braking issues with the RB20. He explained that the car felt unpredictable in slow-speed corners, with the brakes locking up or causing excessive sliding whenever he tried to push harder. Red Bull's engineers have identified the braking problem through their data, but despite several attempts, they have yet to find a solution. Adjusting his driving style race after race, Perez has been fighting an uphill battle to stay competitive, and it's starting to take a visible toll on him. The deeper you look into Perez's season, the clearer it becomes his issues aren't just limited to bad luck or a handful of poor races. The braking problems he described have plagued him for weeks, forcing him to constantly tweak his approach on the track. But instead of things improving, the problems have only intensified, leaving him stuck in a frustrating cycle. With every attempt to push harder, the car fights back, causing him to slide off lines and lose precious time. Red Bull's engineers, despite identifying the braking inconsistencies, haven't been able to implement a solution. And in Formula One, every second counts. Failing to solve technical issues isn't just a matter of frustration, it's a matter of survival. Perez has now found himself chasing shadows, struggling to stay competitive not only with the team's expectations, but also against his own younger, hungrier rivals. The pressure on Perez has never been more intense. After his elimination from Q1 in Mexico, it became painfully clear that his confidence is fading. Not only is he struggling to adapt to the car's unpredictable behavior, but he's also finding himself locked in battles that a championship contender shouldn't be involved in. P18 on the starting grid isn't just a number, it's a statement about how far he has fallen. Christian Horner, who has always stood by Perez, now finds himself cornered. Red Bull's reputation as a championship-winning team means tough decisions can't be avoided for long, and after a string of disappointing performances from Perez, Horner's patience appears to be running thin. The reality is, Red Bull can't afford weak links. When you're fighting for the top, there's no room for errors, let alone a streak of them. Perez's poor form is starting to raise serious questions about whether keeping him on board is worth the risk. But perhaps the most significant factor in this unfolding drama is the rise of Liam Lawson. The young driver isn't just delivering solid performances, he's making a statement. Lawson's aggressive move against Perez in Mexico was a warning shot. He's coming for the seat, and he won't back down. For Red Bull's management, this only adds to the dilemma. Lawson represents the future, a driver who is willing to fight tooth and nail for his place, and one who might just be a better fit for the team's long-term ambitions. Even Red Bull's Helmut Marko, known for his ruthless decision-making, seems to be leaning toward a change. Marko has hinted that the competition between Perez and Lawson is more than just a rivalry, it's a test of character. Red Bull needs someone who can thrive under pressure, and right now it seems Lawson has the edge. The tension between the two drivers came to a boiling point during the race in Mexico, where Perez's frustrations boiled over in his post-race comments. He needs to learn respect, Perez said of Lawson, referring to the rookie's brash attitude. This sport isn't just about speed, it's about humility and learning from those who've been here longer, but Lawson's response, on and off the track, suggests that he's here to disrupt the status quo, not conform to it. With every passing race, the storm clouds over Perez's future grow darker. Rumors of his mid-season departure are now more than just paddock gossip, they're becoming a real possibility. Even seasoned insiders believe that Christian Horner and Helmut Marko are preparing for a change, with the 2025 lineup already in the works. And after the drama at the Mexican Grand Prix, it's no longer a matter of if but when. The biggest question Red Bull faces isn't just whether to replace Perez, it's about who will step into his shoes. For the longest time, there wasn't a clear candidate. But with Liam Lawson emerging as a frontrunner, the puzzle pieces are starting to fall into place. And let's not forget the wildcard Daniel Ricciardo. A fan favorite and former Red Bull driver, Ricciardo has hinted at a desire to return, and many within the team believe he could bring stability back to the garage. Some analysts, like Dan Ripley, argue that it's time for Red Bull to make the tough call, bring Ricciardo back, restore team harmony, and give Lawson time to develop. The way things stand, however, Perez's seat looks increasingly vulnerable. Lawson's performances are hard to ignore, and with every clean race and bold move, he's proving that he's more than just a temporary stand-in. In Mexico, the fierce on-track battle between Lawson and Perez wasn't just about points, it was a glimpse into a changing of the guard. Perez's car damage, caused by that aggressive exchange, only added to his list of recent mistakes. The frustration was evident on both sides, but for Red Bull, it was a demonstration of what the future could look like. The countdown has begun, and all eyes are on Red Bull. As they head into the final races, one thing is certain: big changes are coming. Whether it's Perez, Lawson, or Ricciardo, the decision will shape the team's future and define their path forward in Formula One's fiercely competitive landscape. What do you think? Is Perez's time up? Will Lawson be the one to take over, or will Ricciardo make a sensational comeback? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the latest updates from the world of Formula One. The next chapter in Red Bull's story is just around the corner, and trust us, you don't want to miss it.